Hello everybody, this is my first video. I am going to talk about my spiritual awakening and what I am going through. So I would say about 2 years ago, I started receiving information about how things are very different from what I thought what life was. What I thought pretty much like I was already feeling like, why is this world just so, like, what is the real purpose for us living in this world? No, it can't be the corporate just working every single day to just make money, to miss out on your children growing up, to just work for people that don't care. They really don't care. It's all about the money, which I have learned recently, and I'm super emotional, which you will find out. So I really started asking questions and a lot of downs where I was not getting information. I couldn't see an end to my corporate life. You know, I had a 4-bedroom house that needed to get paid. Both my husband and I worked from home. I had a daughter, I have a daughter that was going to school nearby, so I didn't want to take her out of school. This was about 2020, so we were actually at the end of COVID at this point. So she was going to school right next door to the house that we had bought to be closer to her family, her dad's side, because my ex-husband and I are separated, and now I'm married to an amazing human. But yeah, so I pretty much just kept asking these questions, like, how can it be possible that we are working so hard and not seeing any real satisfaction out of the hard work we're putting in? You know, constant stress, feeling physically sick from the amount of pressure put on by corporate world. At the time, the place that I was working for had lost 2 employees and never replaced them. We were already super overworked, and my husband saw the stress that I was going through, and he tried to help me as much as he could, but I kept trying to, meditate and find ways to, relieve stress, to really, think of what I could do to find a different way to make money so that way I wouldn't have to do this for work anymore. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't find an answer. I've had some crazy things happen in my life. My sister had gone through a spiritual awakening and was finding out about her past lives and all these things, and she was able to do tarot and channel, and I was intrigued. In the beginning, we were skeptical, just like anybody else is, that is thinking that all of it is a hoax and you can't really get full conversations from your higher self or God or source, whatever you believe in. But little by little, the things she'd say made sense, and I wanted to be able to get those confirmations myself. So like I said, this was around 2020. Fast forward about a year later, you know, she's getting more and more information, and, you know, her spiritual awakening was getting bigger and bigger. She actually ended up quitting her job and, you know, was working on all her spiritual stuff, which I just wanted to do just the same. You know, I wanted to be able to meditate and get answers and be able to find things out on my own, kind of thing. But like I said, I could not quiet my brain, especially while working at the job that I was working. Just the amount of stress that I was under. So she had done a past life regression with hypnotherapy, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna do the same. I want to find out about my past lives and everything that's going on. And the first time my appointment got canceled, but I didn't know that it was canceled. So I had done everything the night before, you know, gotten everything ready. I woke up, I was getting ready. I got in my truck. Well, before this, I was feeling a little like nauseous and kind of weird. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I feel weird. I almost feel like sick to my stomach. Maybe I'm nervous, which is not my usual thing. Like, I don't really get nervous about things like this. But I was like, or maybe excited. So I ate some crackers, had a little bit of water, and at this point I'm running late. So I'm like, I really need to go. I jump in my truck, and then I was like, oh, I have a email from the lady. So at the next light, I look at the email, and she's like, I never do this, but I'm gonna have to cancel my appointment with you. Unfortunately, I woke up this morning and I am, you know, a few months into my pregnancy, and I'm seriously so sick and just have morning sickness really, really bad. I haven't had it like this before. And I was like, you know, of course, no worries. And I drove back home. But then I'm telling my husband, I was like, you know what? Like, my sickness had gone away right before that I read that email. And I was like, I wonder if I was like feeling what she was feeling. So maybe I would be the one to cancel. I don't know. But I just thought it was such a big coincidence. And so I was like, that was crazy. So it got rescheduled, and it got rescheduled probably for like the next month. I ended up going, and like I said, I've always had a hard time with visualizing things in my third eye and kind of being able to meditate and really quiet my brain and stuff like that. So I'm sitting at the hypnotherapist, and she's really trying to get me to get through and see anything, and I just cannot. And she doesn't even know what to do because she has never had the situation before. And I just could not find like a reason why. Like, I've tried, I even did like visualizations and stuff to prep before because I knew that I have such a hard time visualizing. So I got nothing really out of the hypnotherapist, but you know what? Probably about 3 months later, my sister did a past life reading for my husband, because she had developed her gifts even more and was able to do it. And when she did it for my husband, he found out that he was somebody that was very, dark in a past life, and it did a lot of damage and to a lot of people, and it hurt a lot of people. And I was like, I don't understand how that could be possible. This man is an angel. Like, he is the best person I could have ever dreamt of to be my husband. And So I was like, yeah. So that happened, and I was like, I was encouraging, of course. I was like, I hope you know that that does not determine who you are in this life. You know, you are amazing. And it doesn't mean that you're ever going to be that person. So, come to find out, probably about a month after that, my sister did mine. And I was actually also a very dark person in my past life. At least one of my past lives. And it was one of the ones that came out. And during the whole reading, my sister's channeling as well. And they're like, once again, remember what you have told everybody, you know, that your past lives don't determine who you are. You know, it's just a life you've lived in the past. You know, you can make your own again. And so I found out I was a very dark person as well, and did a lot of damage. And so finding out that, and now I know why my past life regression didn't work out. Because if I would have found out those 4 months before that I was a dark person, then I would have never, ever gotten over it. I would have gone into a dark hole and felt so guilty. But because I could see them, you know, my husband was, you know, a dark person in his past too, and he's such a wonderful person. And it really helped me get through it. I still every once in a while think about, you know, what I was told and stuff, and maybe one day I'll be told to tell who I was or stuff like that. But for right now, I'm gonna keep that to myself. But to anybody out there that has had even a past horrible life or have done bad things, there's light inside of you. You can always make that light bigger. You can always grow and be a better person. Even if people look at you like for the things that you've done in the past, it does not determine who you will be. I have an example, I guess, of that. There was a guy that was in the area we are living, and he was just looking for work and trying to make a living. He was about to move into the area. His family already lived in the area. You know, he was covered in tattoos and, you know, has been to jail and all these things, but he's trying to put his life together. And I could feel that. Like, something told me, it's like, you need to help him. So I was sitting by a fire talking to my neighbors, and I was like, hey, have you guys seen the post about this person? You know, I really want to help him. And, you know, I had talked to my husband about it. I was like, what can we do to help him out? There was some yard work that we needed to get done, so we were like, we had talked that we were going to reach out to him. But I was just talking to my neighbor because we share kind of a area where people walk through, so I just wanted to make sure that they were aware that this person was going to be in our yard and stuff. The neighbor, one of the neighbors, not both of them, but one of the neighbors was very negative, and I don't want those people in my backyard. I was like, well, those people won't be in your backyard, they're going to be in my backyard. But you don't know them. You can't just assume that they're going to be bad. I was like, unless there's something that I don't know that you know. And it's just like, no, I'm getting bad vibes from them. And, you know, I respected them, and just let her know, hey, they're going to be in my yard. I'm paying them to do it. I want to try to help them. And I actually used the example of Jelly Roll, which I absolutely love Jelly Roll's story. and how much he does for our community and the love that he shares for people. And you know, just because you're covered in tattoos and you have a past, you know, you don't know why those people chose that path. Maybe it was a lesson they needed to learn to proceed in this life, to be able to be a stronger person. Because I can tell you, that man is a very strong man, because just hearing on my side the things that people say, I can't even imagine what they would feel, what I would feel if people were judging me in that way, just because of my appearance or the things that I've done in my past. And so I have a serious compassion. And when I tell you that when we paid him for the job and the things that we've given him, because we were moving and we were giving away stuff, he was so extremely grateful, more grateful than anybody I've ever come across. And you know, I just hope that people take that into consideration when they're judging somebody because of the things they've done in the past, because of the way they look, because of the things they say sometimes. I may not agree with everybody, but I will try my best to show them love and compassion, and maybe even share my opinion, because maybe it will change the way that they think, you know. But it doesn't have to be I don't have to push it on them. It's just, hey, I don't know if you've ever thought about it this way, but I just wanted to put it out there. I'm not trying to go against you. I'm just, maybe it's something you can think about. But yeah, that was one of the first times that I have gotten a message to really work on things and get things started. Shortly before that, we got the message that we should sell our house, which was very hard for me. We bought our house in 2020, and it was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, you know, beautiful house. I even built a pool a couple years before. It was my dream house. My kid would literally walk to school. It was right behind our house. But my husband was like, if we sell this house, we will be able to be completely debt-free, be able to pursue the things that we want to pursue. You will be able to focus on your meditation, your journey, things that are important. You will be able to quit your job. And I couldn't be selfish. I couldn't just want to do it just because, or want to stay in this house just because. You know, it was a beautiful house and it's got all these fancy things in it. So now we live in a single wide trailer with 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, and we hardly have room for anything, but I have never been happier. It's not about the things you have, it's about the people you have and what you can do. Because I was able to give up the house, and my husband let me quit my job so I can find myself. So many things have changed. I have been able to spend so much more time on my child and actually spend time not just thinking about, you know, what I gotta get done with work and, you know, be half working and half listening, you know. I actually got to travel with my child and spend time with her, really focus on her. There is a little bit of sacrifice because I don't see her as much anymore. And I only see her on weekends, or, you know, if I want to go have lunch with her or something like that, you know, her dad is amazing about that. But she's 13 now, you know, but I'm able to spend the whole summer as much as I want with her and do trips with her because we can afford trips, you know, and all those things. We're able to have the land that we want so we can grow our own crops and fruits and stuff, because the stuff that is in stores is so bad for us. And I feel so loved and aligned, and I'm able to be in nature, which I know is a big thing for me. So I just want to share this story in case there is anybody out there struggling to, trying to go through their spiritual awakening or finding their path. The biggest thing that's ever come is, which my family is like, you've always been this person, but of course I've never seen it, is that I'm the one that encourages everybody else when they're down. I am the light of my friends and my family. My husband tells me all the time how I took him out of a very dark place, and how I'm the first person that truly loved him. But he's amazing. I'm the lucky one. And so if anybody just wants to hear a story of somebody trying to find their way through their spiritualness and find their true gifts, I'm still on the path. I'm still trying to figure out where I belong and what my complete purpose is, and what my creativeness is going to be. I have been told that I will be traveling a lot. I don't know for what, but I am happy that whoever's watching this will be part of the journey with me. I look forward to meeting and speaking with anybody, and I'm so sorry about my nose and my crying is just the way I am. Hopefully it gets better. But thank you for listening to my story.